Motherhood will rock your world. Literally rock, which means ups and downs, ups and downs. And so today I am talking about 7 of the major changes that happened in my life when I went from 0 kids to having a kid. Now, this isn't only for the mothers-to-be, this is also for the already mothers, just to know that you are not alone. Motherhood is probably, I would say, the biggest change, the biggest challenge one can make in their life. If you are about to have a kid and just wanting to know more, this is a great video to set some realistic expectations and just get ready for your baby to come into this world. Oh, and I'll be starting with the smallest change, and the last one is going to be the biggest change. So my first one that I'm talking about is just the time it takes to get ready. Now, this is for yourself, and this is also just for your baby. And so to go to church before, you could get ready in 30 minutes, in an hour, you could rush it, whatever it may be. But when you have a baby, it is hard to get ready yourself, because if you have to breastfeed, if you have to give your baby formula, you're still holding your baby and having to feed them, and then they need diaper changes, then you have to change them, and then you're like, okay, now I need to get ready, I'm gonna try to put them in the bouncer, give them to dad, and then maybe the baby's not happy, and so you have to take care of the baby again, and here you are looking like a hot mess, and like, we are already negative 10 minutes late, and I'm not dressed, I am not put together, and my baby just had a blowout. I don't know how many times my baby had a blowout before we left. And I'm like, how do you know? How do you know like 5 minutes before we are walking out the door to have a complete blowout? And so just know that you'll need more time to get ready, because babies are just unexpected. My second one, which some moms may have put this down the list as like a bigger change, but I'm keeping it as number 2, and that is sleep. I put this less on the bigger changes, but still a big change, because you have to wake up multiple times in the night, and so your sleep gets all thrown off, and you just have to find a new routine. Now, being a stay-at-home mom, I will say, if I didn't get that sleep at night, I could sleep during the day if she napped. I definitely took those opportunities to sleep and nourish my body in that way, because I don't function well off of little sleep. I also just want to say this as an encouragement. I was very surprised how my body adjusted to the new amount of sleep it was getting, because in the beginning, I only got probably at most 3 hours of sleep at a time. Anyways, and so yes, your sleep gets all thrown off, but also know your body can handle it. I wasn't as much of like feeling like a just angry monster that I thought I would be having no sleep. I was really worried about that, and I was like, wow, God, you're so cool to help our bodies adjust. That doesn't mean I wasn't tired, I didn't want coffee. It doesn't mean any of that, but it does mean that it was more doable than what I thought. The third biggest change is going out or getting coffee. I used to love going to coffee shops, meeting friends at coffee shops, just getting out to go to Walmart. All of that became so much harder with a kid. I remember the first time my husband and I decided to step into a coffee shop with our little sweet Rosie. We walked in, and my husband is like, we're not meant to be here. Like, this environment is not for us. And I realized I had never really thought much about or paid much attention to other kids before that point of me having a kid. But we genuinely felt like coffee shops were no longer for us, because we were parents with a baby who might cry and make a fuss, and it might be quiet in that coffee shop, and people are studying or friends are talking, and we're here with a baby, and we just felt very out of place. Now, you do adjust to that, you do learn with change, and I think the more kids we have, the more comfortable we'll be with it all. But as a new parent, everything's just so new, and you're so nervous, and you don't want to be the loud people. And so going out, it just became a real challenge. Even our daughter hates the car, and so she would scream. She would scream, 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 and not just like cry, but I mean like her scream cry in the car. So car rides got stressful. Definitely no more like Walmart shopping. Order your groceries online. Biggest difference in the world. That helped so incredibly much, even if she was crying in the back. At least I didn't have to have her crying in the store while I was getting all our groceries. And so going out, that was definitely a big change. That was hard for me, because I love to get out. The fourth biggest change. Now these are getting into the really big ones that were really big changes in my life and harder to adjust to. And this one, this one is free time. Before, when you think of free time, I'm even talking about like your free time to vacuum, do dishes, cook dinner, work out, all of those type of free times. Not even just free time to like, oh, let me just go hang out with friends, but free time to like, let me take care of the house. It is extremely hard to find that new routine with a baby. And all of these really, guys, I don't want y'all to see these as just negatives, but I'm sharing this so you can know what to expect, because I think if I knew more what to expect, I could have been a little bit more prepared and just thought, okay, Chelsea, like this is what people talked about. You have to learn your new routine. And so with Rosie, it was so hard to do anything, and that was so discouraging. I just felt like I had to sit on the couch all day or on the bouncy ball bouncing her, and I couldn't do dishes, I couldn't cook, and I was like, what even is this? Like, I'm actually desiring to clean and cook and do all the things I didn't really love before, but I didn't realize how easy it was to do before having a kid. The big change is learning how to really compromise. It sounds funny to compromise with a baby, but to know when you have to put it down, when you need to pick up your baby, when you have to let your baby cry because you have to do this mound of dishes or whatever it may be. It's a really big adjustment. Before, I was like, I'll just put my baby in the little bouncer or the little swing that babies go in, and then I can do whatever. I can read, I can clean, I can cook, I can post to social media. It's gonna be easy. Like, you could easily have your baby at home. Like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. I had no idea how incredibly hard it is to get things done with a baby. And so just learning to adjust to that and knowing that you may not be able to do 10 minutes worth of dishes without your baby crying, or having to wear your baby, or having to stop to change your baby, feed your baby, whatever it may be. Number 5, real quickly, making friends or seeing friends. This also is, a lot of this is my experience, but it's a personal thing I did not grow up, or in college, I was not around people very much who had babies. And so I didn't know what it looked like to hang out with someone who had kids, which is horrible. I started learning as I moved to Fort Worth, but it was all so new to me. And so I was like, I don't know how to invite someone over, or I don't know how to go to a coffee shop and ask someone, because I would be so anxious, scared, worried. But just like that, my baby's gonna cry, she's gonna be hungry, and we're struggling to feed, or we're gonna have to change her diaper, or I'm gonna have to literally be bouncing her on the ball while I'm trying to connect with this person. And that's just hard. It's not the same as before babies, but it's definitely still possible. But just know too that, like, it's okay if you have a crying baby, or if you have to feed them, or whatever it may be. You may be self-conscious about certain things, but people really aren't locked into you as much as you think they are. Don't stop seeing friends. Don't stop trying to make friends while you have kids. Yes, it is harder, but yes, it is doable too. Number 6. This is the absolute biggest one, except for the very last one I'm sharing. But it is the mental load it takes to be a mother. Oh my goodness, so much. Like, I think people have like mommy brain, not just because of all the hormone imbalances and getting leveled back out after having a kid, but because you are constantly, especially in the beginning, you're like, is my baby getting enough food? Do I need to do this for my baby? What if my baby's hurting? My baby can't communicate, so what if they're in pain and I'm not doing this good enough? I don't know, am I being a good enough mom? I don't feel like I'm a good enough mom. Mom guilt. All of these things take such a mental load. Even just like the biggest change in becoming a parent is being more selfless for your kid. That's a big mental load too, because do you know how hard it is to not have to worry about anything, do whatever you want on your own time, stay up as late as you want, get up as early as you want, go to the gym, go out, see friends whenever you want, versus having a kid, and now everything is dependent upon that kid. That is a big change. And so that in itself, becoming more selfless, is a big change, and that is a mental load too, because you know where you need to be, but it doesn't mean becoming a mom you automatically just switch to like being a way more selfless and not caring at all about you or what you want to do or your makeup or your health or whatever. Still matters to an extent, but God has given you a baby to steward, to love, to keep alive, all of that. And so that is what becomes first. So just know there's going to be a lot of change, and in psychology and counseling, through my schooling I've taken, any amount of change adds stress. So it can be good change, which is having a baby. Having a baby is good change, but the bigger the change, the more stress it can put on a person. And like I said at the beginning, I really think having a baby is one of the biggest changes you can make in your life. It's going to be a night and day flip of change, but you will adjust to it and it'll be okay, because here's the number 7th biggest change out of it all, and it is blessings. When you learn to hand over more of your life to sacrifice for your kid, to love your kid, to take care of your kid, and to let go of just some of the struggles, but realize everything, like all the blessings that God has given you through a kid, it really is like anything, unlike anything else. But the blessings that come with seeing a kid when they can learn to flip over like belly to back, when they're crawling, when they're walking, when they hear new noises. Rosie loves noises. So she'll like do this and she'll be looking at me like this. Like so happy that this makes a noise. Like just seeing kids learn is such a blessing, and then knowing like that is my kid. I made that kid, or I chose to adopt this kid. Whatever it may be, that is your kid, and it is a joy. And then it is a joy too to know that, hey, life isn't all about me, and becoming more selfless and more like Christ, because Christ was a servant and we are called to be servants too, and that starts absolutely in our home. So if there is one thing I could have wrapped my head around pre-baby, it's that your life is about to change majorly, and in every single way possible you could think of, it's gonna change. But you will get through those challenges, God will get you through it, and you will have so many more blessings and joyful, wonderful memories that you are going to look back on. I hope that was encouraging, and I will see y'all around next week, next time, whenever.